Yes?
Does Dick Hayes live here?
Yes, why?
Is he in?
No. We ain't come home from work yet. He's still at work.
Oh. He said he was on nights this week. He said he'd be in.
Well, he should have been, but he swapped shifts. His mother's on his last legs. He didn't want to be at work in case I happened to her in at night.
Oh, I see. What time are you expecting him home, then?
Should be long now, I've got his dinner on.
Oh, can we wait for him, then?
What do you want him for, anyway?
We're scouts from Derby County. I'm Joe Kenny, and this is George Hurst. We want him to come to Derby for a trial.
Oh. You better come in, then.
Thanks all very much.
Still at it, then, is it?
At it. It's raining twice. It'd be a grand day for a funeral, would this?
My heart dropped a mile when I saw you standing there. I thought you'd come from the pit. I thought something had happened to him.
Our hearts dropped a mile and all when we got off that bus and they told us how far we got to walk in this lot.
Which bus did you come on?
But we caught one at Sheffield Lane top to Oyland.
It's a fair walk from Oyland. Here, sit down. You must be worn out.
Thank you very much.
If you can get down, that is. You couldn't come on a worse day. Does he know you're coming?
Oh, we had a word with him after the match at Thorpe on Saturday.
Oh.
We'd seen him play a few times before that, though. We didn't let on who we were, though, just in case he'd put him off his game.
Do you think he's good enough to be a footballer?
I'll say.
A professional footballer, I mean.
He could be. Oh, he's good enough. Don't you bother about that, missus. He's a natural.
Yeah. Oh, they all say that. They all say he's a good player. His dad said when he was 3-year-old he could throw a ball up between his heels and catch it on his foot when it come down.
Aye, well, it's not music all turns we're after. You need a bit more than a spot of juggling to make the grade as a pro footballer.
He's a natural, though, George. You've only to see him running with the ball. Stands out a mile.
Takes after his dad, they say. He would have centre forward and all.
It's often the case. Centre forwards are born, not made. But just like scholars and royalty.
Scores a lot of goals, doesn't he?
Aye.
Not that I know about it. Never tells me out. It's his dad that tells me. I do a bit of cleaning up there now his mother's back.
That's what we want him for. He's one of them players who'll score goals no matter what league he plays in.
Oh, aye.
Aye.
Sorry, it's not very comfortable, but I held off hoping it would stop. And I can't have ice up in like a tip when Dick comes in. I still have to get done.
What time did you say you'd get back?
Well, it should be any time now. I've got his puddings on already. Do you want to put a tea while you're waiting? You must be frozen to marrow if you've walked all that way in this lot.
Well, if it's not too much trouble, it'd have come in very nicely, thank you. Where?
Derby.
Oh, it's about 40 miles from here, I should say, wouldn't you, George?
50. 50 be near up, Mark.
It's a fair stretch then, isn't it? How'd you get there?
From here?
Huh?
You walk it to Oyland, then you catch a bus to Sheffield Lane top. From there, you catch a tram to the station. Then you catch a train to Derby.
It's a light track then, isn't it?
You've never been to Derby, then?
Never been? I've only been to Sheffield twice. That was to see my mother in hospital. Once when she lost diabetes and once when she had a growth removed from her neck. Both want sugar?
3 for me, please, missus. And you can put it in your number 5 shovel if you've got one.
Just one for me. That's enough.
You never said you were coming.
We arranged it after the match. We didn't have time to talk because we had a train to catch.
Never said out when he got home. He said Centre Half had been clogging him to death all game. His shins were black and blue when he washed his legs to go out Saturday night.
Sure. I get some clog I am, there's no doubt about that.
Nobody ever does tell me out. He's never in to tell me, is he?
He's got to expect it, though, hasn't he? They're not going to stand there and let him run past them, are they?
His dad says he asks for it sometimes, so he tries to make mugs out of him. Says he's got too much old buck.
Oh, he's cheeky, all right.
Cocky.
I know. That's his trouble. Clever Dick, that's what they used to call him when he was at school. And Dick can tell him out. Oh.
Nobody had to tell him how to get that ball into the back of the net. It is a certainty.
How old is your husband, Mrs. Hayes?
22. Just.
He must have been approached before. By other clubs. I mean, it's not as though he's still a lad. Or that nobody's ever seen him play. He's well known for miles around here. He's a marked man. Every time he steps onto that field.
We couldn't believe it this time we saw him. We'd had these reports from our local scout. Come up and see this Dick Hayes, he kept saying. Come up and see him before it's too late. He's another Steve Bloomer, he said. But can you remember that dummy you sold that centre half, George? Talk about sending a man the wrong way. He finished up amongst the supporters against them lav walls down the far side.
He should have shot then, though, instead of trying to dribble it round the goalkeeper.
It were only the mud that stopped him, though, George. He were round the goalie. He'd have left him on a dry day.
But it wasn't a dry day. He tried to do too much. He'd have scored with a shot.
He did get 2, though, George, to be fair.
I know. But they lost, didn't they?
One or two blokes have been to see him. He went to his mother's and all before we were married.
Where from?
Local clubs mainly. Barnsley, Huddersfield, Sheffield. Should have gone to Sheffield Wednesday once for a trial, but he never got off.
Why?
He didn't get up in time, he missed train. Mind you, that when he was living at home. I wish he would go.
Go? Where?
Derby, anywhere.
It's a good club. It'd be well looked after.
How much will you get paid?
George?
Wait a minute, will you?
Hello?
Yes, Winnie, is your Stanley still off school?
Why? Do you want him?
Yes. Will you ask him to run up to Queen's for me and ask Ernest if Dick's there? If he is, will you tell him to come straight home, because there's 2 men from Derby come to see him?
I'll send him straight away.
Ta. He sometimes calls in Queen's for a drink on his way home.
You need one, I can tell you. I know, I've worked down there. When I first started down the pit, the pubs used to be open all day. Ike Johnson, who kept the Acorn, he used to be open when the nightmen came off at 6. He used to have all the pints safe pulled on bar, then start filling them up when he heard clogs coming up lane. One morning he laid too long and he wasn't up. We were all outside, banging on the doors and shouting. Joe Jones picked up some muck and threw it up against bedroom window. "Hey, up," he shouted. "Are you stopping in bed all day then, or what?" He was a bugger, was Joe. He got crushed between 2 tubs.
It'll not be long. Queen's is only a cock stride away. You'll have passed it on corner on your way up.
Well, I hope not. We've got a train to catch at 5:30.
Hold on for me, Stanley. Come in, love. Here, love.
No, Mrs. Dennis will be gone.
Oh. Will you run up to Aaron Arms then, love, and ask if he's there for me? Go on, hurry up. Come straight back, won't you, love? Sometimes calls in Aaron Arms instead of Queen's.
Does he sometimes call in them both?
How much did you say get paid?
Well, it depends. At his age, he'd probably start on about £8 a week. But if he stopped with the club and did well, after a few years, he might be bringing home out up to £15 with bonuses.
£15 a week? Just for playing at football?
Better than being down the pit, isn't it, missus? What's he getting there? £3 or £4?
Me, I don't know. Don't tell me. He just gives me his money on a Friday and keeps us for his son.
Well, it'll not be more than 5, I can tell you that. Then there's a free house, of course, and he'd travel about a lot.
Free house?
Oh, rent-free, I mean. Well, nearly. A clubhouse. We don't give it to you, I don't mean that.
What sort of house? I mean,
What sort?
what's it like inside?
I don't know. What sort of it, George? Bigger than this. A bathroom. No fancy, mind, but nice, in town.
Yeah.
Oh, they're well looked after, all right, at our players. It's a good club. It's got a good record. We were Division 1 runners-up 1895-96 and last season. Division 2 champions twice and runners-up once. We've been FA Cup finalists 3 times, 1898, 1899 and 1903. And we've had some great players. There was the immortal Steve Bloomer, of course. Old pale-face. He played 20 times for England and altogether scored 297 goals for Derby. Then there's Jack Bowers.
Sounds lovely. I've always wanted to live in a town.
Don't get carried away, missus. It wouldn't be Buckingham Palace. We're not the Arsenal. Not yet, anyway.
No, but it'd be better than stuck in this hole, wouldn't it? I mean, to be better than stuck in here all day. I won't have to wash these anymore either, would I?
You're better off washing them than wearing them, I can tell you that. If you'd go down there 6 days a week, you'd be thankful for what you've got. You're better off filling washing tubs than coal tubs, believe me.
Come in, Stanley. Is there, love?
No, he says he's not been in.
Hasn't anybody seen him?
I don't know, I didn't ask them all.
Well then, if I give you a penny, will you run to Prince, to Style and to Club for me? Do you know where they are?
Club. I don't know where that is.
It's down Fitzwilliam Street. That big red brick building near the bottom.
You mean near where Claire lives? Where that bowling green's over their back wall?
Yeah, that's it. Stanley, love, where are you going?
Prince. Star.
Club.
Club.
And what are you going to say?
I'm going to say, has anybody seen Mr. Hayes? And if he's there, to come straight on, because there's two men to see him.
That's a good lad. 2 men from Derby Football Club, tell him.
Derby County Football Club.
Wait a minute, lad. And here's another penny for you. If you look sharp.
Go on, off you go, love. Don't be long, will you?
You better not be. Or we'll be gone by the time he gets back.
Why, can't you catch a later train?
There isn't a later train. And we've to be on that 10 to 4 bus from Hoyland, or we'll miss it.
Men. We can't rely on 2 minutes together.
You can rely on them for one thing, that is a certainty.
Yeah, and that's about all.
Get away with you. You don't know your bone.
You what? Stuck in here all day? Washing, cooking, cleaning, ironing? Never going anywhere week in, week out? What sort of life do you call that?
And where do you think your husband goes every day? To a picnic? I know, I've worked down there. I can remember when I was playing away for Huddersfield when we looked like going down one year, and I called in a pub that I used to go in before I left home. As soon as they saw me, they were at it, having me on, making fun of me. How had we got on against such and such? How many goals had I let in against so-and-so? One bloke shouted across, "You look like going down if you're not careful, Joe." Ah, I said, but it'll still be better than going down pit.
Yes, but when you've done your shift, you finish for the day, haven't you? I mean, I've never done. Let alone my own stuff. I'm doing some of Dick's mother's washing and all. And I'm expecting a bairn in 3 months. Everybody round here's out to go back, not bit last harbour. Little bit same old tale. I shall be stuck in this hole for the rest of my life. With a cartload of kids growing up round me.
Everybody else has to put up with it.
You don't put up with it. My mother always said that if men and women had bairns in turns and men had theirs first, there'd be no family in this country bigger than 2. She was right and all. What do men know about it? They bring the money home on a Friday and they think that's it. It's dinner, wash, changed and out. Next time you see them, they're either in bed stinking of beer, or shaking you awake next morning to get up and get the breakfasts.
A man's got to have a bit of enjoyment when he's been at work all day. He'd go mad if he didn't.
What about the woman, doesn't she? Don't she work all day?
Oh, I know, but that's different.
Why?
That's woman's work. A woman's used to it, isn't she?
Ah, a woman has to be, doesn't she? I mean, look at Dick. I'm not saying aught about him. He's a good husband. He works hard. And don't think I don't know aught about Pitt either. Because my dad and 5 brothers were colliers. I was brought up with it. We're going to be married a few months. I'll be out of him already. I don't know why men bother getting married, honestly. He sees more of his mates than he does of me. He's just swapped houses, that's all. Instead of his mother feeding and seeing to him, I'm doing it instead.
What do you expect him to do when he gets home? Just stop in all night?
I do.
I know you do. But that's different.
Why? Why didn't you spend a bit more time at home with me instead of wanting to go out every night drinking with his mates?
Because he needs to. When you've been down that hole all day, you need to get out of it. You need to get a few pints down you to make you forget. They might be the last you'll get.
I think your puddings must be done, missus.
Oh, they'll soften up with a bit of gravy on them. Where the hell is they? Should be home by now.
They'll save a bit, won't they?
You know why he's late, don't you?
Why?
Because it's wash day and it's raining and there's washing everywhere you look and he hates the house looking like a tip.
You can't blame him for wanting a bit of comfort when he's been where he has for 8 hours, can you?
No, and you can't blame me because this house ain't big enough to swing a cat round. I've nowhere else to put on.
I'm not blaming anybody, missus.
So he goes out drinking with one of his mates. Plus he slopes off for an hour or 2 and leaves his dinner to spoil on oven top.
It's a hard life.
You're not kidding, mister. Look at my mother, what did she ever get out of life? Further she ever went to Lock Park up Barnsley for an outing. Do you know she reckoned it up once? And further she ever went in 3 years was to Titus Sealer's shop at End of our Street. I mean, what sort of life do you call that? Look at Dick's mother. She had to get married when she was 18. Do you know she was 42-year-old when she had their Clarice? 24 years of married life and she still hasn't done it. Look at her now on her deathbed. A lifetime spent bringing up kids. No life for her own at all. Talk about bitter. She may be dying, but she's still got a tongue like an adder. Ooh, what a temper. Do you know, Dick's dad was that late home one day at a time that she ran up to Aaron Arms in a penny with his plate in her hand and she plunked it down on the table in front of him. And you know what he said?
What?
Have you put any salt on it? I tell you, when she goes, she'll take him with if she could. Well, I don't want that carry on all my life. I want to do something with my life, go somewhere.
The club will not provide you with a maid, you know, if you come to Derby.
I know that, I don't want a maid. Things would be different if we could get away from here, though. I mean, at least I'd be sure he'd be coming home every night, wouldn't I? There's not that many men gets killed at playing at football. And he wouldn't be able to go out drinking with his mates every night. Not if he were a football, he'd have to train and keep fit, wouldn't he?
Does he smoke?
Yeah, sometimes.
Heavy?
No, not heavy, can't afford it.
Fatal. Smoking and drinking for an athlete?
I mean, he might not want to go out drinking every night if he were after in his work. He might want to spend a bit more time at home with me then. I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Has Stanley come back yet, Frida?
Yes, Willie, but I've just sent him up to Aaron House to see if Dick's in there.
I thought he were a long time.
Yeah, well...
You haven't found him yet, then?
No. He'll not be long, his dinner's out ready.
I don't know. You want to take a firm hold of him. Make him settle down before it's too late. How long have we been married? 5 months.
7 months.
7 months. The bear not where he's at it already. Out at all hours, rolling home, singing and shouting, missing his dinner. Our Walter's been home an hour now.
Yes, well, I'll send your Stanley round the minute he comes in.
You've got to be firm, William. Let him know who's boss. They'll have you up a stick if you let them. Is there aught else I can do for you, Frida?
No, not just now. I'll send your Stanley round the minute he comes back.
Right, love. If there's aught else you want, just give me a knock.
Ah, Walter. He's not going to do him at anybody, will tell you that.
At least she knows where he is.
She's just jealous, that's all. We'll be married to an article like that.
Why hasn't he ever signed for anybody, Mrs. Hayes? I mean, he can play a bit, you know.
I know. He knows it and all. He didn't take it seriously, he didn't take Holt seriously.
I can't understand that when his only other choice is the pit.
I know, but he won't budge for him round here. He gets 10 shillings a match for Saturday afternoons. Doesn't have to train. He's proud of that. Thinks it's clever, that, not having to train. He's got his beer, he's got his mates, and he's got me seeing to him. I think he's scared of risking it in case he fails.
He can always come back if he don't make it.
Oh, no. It's easier to think you could have made it than to know you didn't.
Well, we think he could make it, don't we, George?
Oh, I wish you'd try and tell him that.
Well, that's what we come here for. But it looks like we're back to loser.
Hey, you won't say that. I mean, it's a long way to come from Derby, and he might listen to you.
We're not going to have time to make him listen to nothing, missus. Unless he comes home in a few minutes.
He'll be home in a minute. He's bound to be. Any time now.
That kid's taking his time, isn't he?
He's probably spent that penny and buggered off. I bet he stood up an entry with his fingers stuck into a bag of kale or something.
No, he wouldn't do that. He's a good lad, Stanley. He does as he's told, does young Stanley? Do you want another pot of tea while you're waiting? It'll not take me a minute to put kettle on and mash some fresh.
No, thank you, missus. We haven't got time.
Yeah. Well, I'll just try and get done when he comes in.
Come on, get him, left.
Did you find him, love?
He'd been at Starbury, gone.
Will you see where to?
No, just he'd gone with Mr. Mott.
Mr. Mott, I'll give him Mr. Mott.
He'd not been anywhere else, though.
Did you try their house?
Whose house?
Tommy Mott's.
He didn't ask me to go there.
He could have gone to their house, or he could have gone to Thomas Pidgeonut in Gardens.
It sounds as though you're married to the Scarlet Pimpernel, missus. He could be here, he could be there. He could be anywhere by the sounds of
Take
it.
him a minute to run to Tommy's
We
house and to
haven't got
Gardens.
time. We'll miss that bus if we stop any
It'll not
longer.
take him a minute.
Lad'll be worn to a frazzle if he does any more running. Look at him. He's not but a skinned rabbit.
He don't
as
mind
it
it,
is.
Stan. He's always running
No.
errands for me.
After all, missus, he did know we were coming.
Well, perhaps he's got wrong day. Perhaps he thinks he's coming another day.
I don't think so. It doesn't take much remembering Saturday to
Well, he might have
Tuesday.
forgot, you know. He's got a lot on his mind, what with his mother being badly and everything.
He doesn't seem to be worried very much about her, and I noticed you didn't send Lad round to see if he'd called in there.
I can do, though. It's only in next street. That's where he is. He probably is.
No.
Just go...
Don't bother, lad. We've no time now.
Is it still raining, son?
Well, either that or he's sweating heavy.
What shall I tell him when he comes in?
Just tell him we call like we said we would.
Can't I arrange for him to see you sometime? He could come one afternoon. He's on days next week.
We'll let you know.
You'll come and watch him again.
There's no need to watch him again. We know enough about him now.
Will he come back?
I don't know. We've got a lot of players to see, a lot of reports to follow up. We'll let you know if we want to come up again. Come on, Joe.
Thankful to you, this. We'll get drenched walking to the bus stop.
You'll get drenched if we miss it and have to walk to Sheffield Lane top.
Do you know, Mrs. Hayes, we might see you again sometime.
Just wait till he gets in. Have you got that, love?
You have got the penny now.
What other penny?
That one.
Yeah,
Of course you can. I went as fast as I could.
I know you did, love. It wasn't your fault. You better dry your hair when you get in and all. I don't want you catching your dear for cold on my account. Just wait till he gets in. Just wait. I'll kill him, I'll murder him, I'll murder him. It's just not right. If he thinks he's having another do with this house, he's got another thing coming, because he's not. You can have that. And you can wash in cold water and all. Footballer.